Ladies and gentlemen, when I saw this story, it's one that I wanted to do because back in the late 90s, I had an uncle that was a butcher in Florida for over 30 years. And towards the end of his life, he shook real bad. He had really no bodily control. It looked just like someone with mad cow disease. But of course, the doctors down there insisted that that's not what he had. But we knew, the family, we knew otherwise. Ladies and gentlemen, these diseased animals end up in the food supply all the time. When they tell you, oh, we test this and we test that, don't ever believe that. These animals end up in the food supply all the time. Diseased chickens, pigs, and cows always end up in it. Now, they'll tell you that they test this, they test the blood, they test all that testing is not foolproof. I'm just telling you this right now. They have had other cases in the United States of mad cow disease, and they couldn't explain how the person got it. And it was big over there in the UK back during that same time period when my uncle had it in Florida. He ended up dying from it. But, as soon as I saw this story, I'm like, oh my God, not this again. But they picked up on a 6-year-old mixed breed disease cow that showed signs of mad cow disease in Florida. The department didn't say where the cow was, but emphasized it never entered the slaughter channels or food supply. Mad cow is a progressive neurologic disease, a form of BSE, is not contagious and is different from classic BSE, which has been linked to a variant of the mad cow disease. And that classic BSE is the form that was found in the UK. And they had a lot of cases of infected cattle that got into the food supply. And I believe it was like back in the 80s. I was so young. I don't barely remember. But I remember the adults talking about it. And I do remember seeing it on TV. They would show the people in hospital beds and they were constantly shaking and bobbing around. And that was, according to this, in the 80s. In cattle which had been given infectious prion agent such as meat, bone meal, containing protein from rendered infected cattle. So they were feeding cattle to the cattle. And that's how they got it. And then it went from, since it ended up in the food supply, it was one of those things that jumped from animal to human. The FDA has prohibited mammalian protein in feed for cattle since 1997. And in all animal feed since 2009. The animal in Florida was tested as part of the USDA routine surveillance of cattle deemed unsuitable for slaughter. So what they will ultimately do with this cow, he won't be consumed. They're going to kill him and then bury it. That's usually what they will do. Or, they could incinerate it. That's another thing. But, back in the day, they would just shoot these animals and just bury them. But they would not be eaten. And I believe I did tell you all this in another video. My grandfather, when he was sharecropping, he used to raise pigs. And he raised them off and on, even after he got out of sharecropping. he had two. One summer when I went down there, he had two that were separated from all of the other pigs. And these pigs shook real bad. One got up and walked. The other one would not even get up and walk around at all. It just shook real bad and laid down all day long. And he had an inspector come out, and they looked at the pigs and they told my grandfather to take them out in the woods, shoot them both in the back of the head, and dig the holes as deep as possible and put them in it, because what they had was so contagious, it could have spread to the other pigs and wiped out every single one of them that he had. And I remember he did it. He had a couple of men come over to the house and they helped, take them out into the woods. But ladies and gentlemen, these diseased animals are always in the food supply. And every now and then you'll hear about somebody getting a certain disease and they don't know what it is. And a lot of times it comes from these cows, chickens, and pigs that are diseased and end up in the food supply. Now, they caught this one, but I can tell you for certain they don't catch all of them. They do not catch all of these. And my uncle, the way he died, that's proof right there. They do not catch all of these animals that are diseased and should not be in the food supply at all. But please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I will see you on the next video. Peace, family.